We're going to look at three 1970s D-28s today, and I'm not going to do an ABC comparison like a lot of times I do, because number one, the modifications are a little bit too different on some of them. Some of them I really didn't modify that much, and I also am too lazy to cut and splice all the little pieces and put the ABC together. So we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is just look at the guitars, play them a little bit, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the differences between them. So I've got a 71, a 73, and an 83. Yeah. So a 71, 73, and an 83. So the 83 is going to be interesting. How it's different from the 70s. So this first one here is a 71, and it has had a hard life. Let me show you some things on this one. Yeah, here it is. Crack from here to here, and there was a hole in the butt right here. I mean, that was a hole. And one of the things I did was replace the bridge plate, large rosewood bridge plate, with a smaller maple plate. And so just for fun, even though it doesn't match, I used that bridge plate to patch this hole right here. The owner said he didn't care about cosmetics. Didn't even want me to patch the hole, but I went ahead and patched it anyways, you know. It's not a perfect patch, but it does plug the hole up a little bit. But man, it's got, you know, one spot here, it's got a crack running clear over here. All kinds of stuff going on with this guitar. Cracks everywhere. Oh, on the top. Big crack right here where the wood's missing. But fortunately, it's in a pretty good spot where there's not a lot of stress, so I just filled it in with amber super glue and some dust, and, you know, did the best I could on that. And again, the owner said don't spend any time on cosmetics. Got a crack on the top right here, which did not close up with humidity. So that's really interesting. The bridge, of course, was in the wrong location. Scooted it back. Did a 2 1/4 inch spacing. Cut a long saddle. Put this cool 30s looking style pickguard on it. Tuners, nut, 7 frets. Reset the neck 3 times. And the reason was, I don't know why I did it 3 times. It just took that many times because it was kind of funky. Somebody had already done a neck reset on it at one time, and they had cut the fingerboard extension off, which I hate. But at least they cut it here at the 15th fret and not the 14th. So I had the little edge right here to act as my stop and my brace, and I got everything put back together. You can't even tell it's cut now. It's nice and straight, but anyway. Okay, let's play this one. The neck on this one is a little bit slim. It feels very, very, very much like my D-28 1941 authentic over there. It's a slimmer neck, front to rear. It has a nice rounded V2. It's got a nice shape, nice taper. It's actually a little more comfortable than the 41 because it is a little bit thicker front to rear. But when I first put it in my hand, it's like, it's a slim neck, you know. But it's not bad. Not bad. The braces are non-scalloped on this one. The braces are stock. Did not scallop the braces, and did do the popsicle brush. So let's move down the headstock again. And this has had a previous crack up on the headstock where the whole headstock just shattered and broke. And it's holding up pretty good. I didn't do anything to that. I did on the tuner bushings. We didn't put metal bushings. We went ahead and put wood bushings in here. Drilled it straight through. So kind of like a wartime. Kind of like a wartime D-28, if you will. Sort of. That was interesting. I've never done that before. I've made bushings that go part way, and then the metal bushings take it the rest of the way. But to do full wooden bushings all the way through, I've never done that before. The owner suggested that. So I did bushings on that. I did Gotoh tuners. I did nut. I did 7 frets. I did 3 neck resets on it. I did the popsicle brush. Took the bridge plate out, put a small maple one in. Did a completely new bridge with 2 1/4 inch spacing. Long saddle, fixed a bunch of cracks. All the back braces were loose. The back was coming off. I fixed a spot on the front of the back. I don't remember where it was really, really loose and just coming apart. I think it's the back. Anyway, it was loose for about 6 inches. Plugged the hole in the butt. Did a lot of stuff to it. Here we go, finally. It's a good guitar. It's got the non-scalloped nasally sound a little bit, but it's not really bad. It's not. It's got a very pleasant strum. I really like the way the clarity of the mid-range boom punches out, and very clear sounding to me sitting here playing it. It's very clear. It's not muddy at all. It's fun. It sounds very much to me like a really good like a 50s D-28 with that clear punching tight sound. It's good. And even though the neck is slim, because it's got my nut on it, it's got the kind of spacing I like, where you have even spacing between the strings. So it's very comfortable to play. You know, even on the string boards, plenty of room for my fingers in there. Strings are where I expect them to be. I was really impressed on the cross picking. On that part, how clear that was. Man, all those notes are just really nice. They blend together just right too. You know, it's not so distinct that there's no blend in it. I was really pleased when I played that. I thought, man, that sounds good. idea. Tall number 2. This one's a 1973 D-28. It's in pretty good condition. When it came in, it didn't have all the cracks and splits and all that the other one had. A lot of the same modifications. In fact, I think all of the same. No, not quite all the same. Let's start up here. So it's got regular tuners on it. It's got Gotohs. Yeah, Gotoh with the scallop button. It's got the regular grommets, which, you know, pretty much standard procedure. My nut, 15 frets, a neck reset. Just one neck reset on this one, maybe 2. I had a hard time with this last bunch of D-28s. I had 4 D-28s, including the LSV, and I think I reset the neck on 3 of those. And I don't know why. I underset it on each time. You know, I had to get a little more. I know on the LSV the neck lied to me, because when I first strung it up it'd be great, and then over the next day it would shift and the action would go up too high. And my measurement was correct. You know, my first measurement was correct, but when I had the thing on there, I go, man, I got to take that much off? I mean, the straight edge was, you know, that high off of the bridge and everything. And I thought, God, that can't be right. So I second-guessed myself and didn't take the neck back. And, you know, but that's okay. I'd rather take it off again and work it into position than overset it. And so, anyway, this one, don't know. I think I did this one time. I think this is the one that I did it once. Pretty sure. What else? Popsicle braces out. The braces are lightly scalloped. The bridge got scooted back. The bridge plate got removed. It got the same bridge. Yeah, this is the stock bridge with 2 1/8 inch spacing in the stock short saddle. And this one ended up with a pretty tall saddle, which is okay. It's about a 160 thousandths of an inch. If it was a long saddle, I'd want it to be about 140 or 150 out of the bridge. But being a short saddle, it can be taller. And the back angle is great. Everything looks real nice on it. So let's play it. Neck on this one, it's just a little bit chunkier than the 71. Just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. This is a really nice neck here. I like this one. Fits in my hand really good. And it's just a little chunkier. Alright, let's play. little bit more of a deeper, richer sound than the other one. To me, you know, I said I wasn't going to compare them, but I can't help comparing them a little bit. To me, this one's a little bit more of more of the characteristic D-28 sound. It's more over into the D-28, whereas the other one was almost, you know, it reminded me so much of the 63 D-18 that I used to have, with a clear bell-like tone. This is probably a better rhythm guitar. You know, it's got a big sound to it. It's good. The neck's really nice on this one, like I said already. But the taper is so nice. The taper is very even. I bet it increases 20 or 30 thousandths of an inch, and not until up into here either. And the rest of this taper is just really nice and smooth. Very consistent feel. Up and down the neck. Of course, the scalloping is going to kick in over the next several months, so it'll continue to get a little more open, a little broader. But gosh, it's, you know, man, these 70s. It's nice. I like that. I mean, it's the, you know, they're Sitka tops, and so the pre-wars, the golden eras, that kind of thing, those are Adirondack tops. The Sitka, to me, always has a little bit of a gritty sound. It's a little bit of a rude sound compared to the Adirondack, and I like that. I like the rumble, you know. I like a little bit of grit in my playing. I don't like it to be silky smooth all the time. Guitar, 73. On the early 70s, and I'm going to show you this because the 83 is going to be different. On the 70s, you will find that the Brazilian rosewood has this lighter brown color with the little pepper sprinkles in it right here. I'll show you what I mean. Look at it real close. And you can see these little pepper sprinkles all over the wood. And you don't see that in the later guitars, the 80s and such. You lose that. It's a different kind of Indian rosewood, a different growth, more of a plantation rosewood from what I understand. I'm really not a wood guy, but here's his pepper sprinkles here. I'm really not a wood guy, but that's what I understand from, you know, from guys like John Arnold, John Hall, you know, guys that are way better at wood than I am. I only know what they, what they tell me, but I notice a difference in the kind of wood, and when you tap on it, it's got a different sound to it. It's a brighter, punchier sound. I got no problem whatsoever with these 70s pepper sprinkle Indian rosewood. It's good stuff. It's still, when you cut it on a saw, it feathers, you know. So it's still not Brazilian rosewood. Brazilian rosewood would be like iron sometimes. I mean, it'll smoke as it goes through the saw, and makes just a clean. Well, no, that doesn't make a clean cut. That's why you get the saw marks on the back. But what I mean is, there's no feathering going on right there. It cuts like glass, you know. Very hard stuff. And so when I say it cuts like metal, I mean it literally smokes and makes saw marks on it because it's so hard. That doesn't happen with Indian rosewood. The Indian rosewood is much softer rosewood. You can tell on the saw that it cuts easier. It's easier to work with. But as far as the tap tone goes, this stuff has a nice tap tone to it. You know, it's nice, bright. It's a good snappy
This one
tone. Is 1983 D-28, and it has modifications in common with the other two guitars. So the things in common: the first guitar had a 2 1/8 spacing, but it was non-scalloped. The next one had the 2 1/4 and was non-scalloped. The second guitar had 2 1/8 and was scalloped. This one has got 2 1/4 and is scalloped. So it's got everything. You know, it's got the wider bridge spacing and it's got scallop bracing too. And of course, along with that, it's got a maple bridge plate. So it's a mesh of the other two. It also has a headstock crack. It had a pretty bad break right here at the volute, which was okay, but I was able to open it up a little bit and get some hot hide glue in there, and it's holding up great. It's not budging. I got pretty good hot hide glue in there, and I heated it up real good. Put the glue in there, worked it, and anytime it squeezes out, it also squeezes in. So I got a nice clamp on it, and I feel real comfortable about that, being pretty sturdy. This one has Grover 18-to-1 tuners on it. The other two have Gotohs, and the first one had Gotoh ovals. The next one had Gotoh scallops, and this one has Grover 18-to-1. And I tell you, that's the hardest thing about doing these guitars. You got 3 or 4 70s D-28s, you know, and I consider this a 70s because it's an 83, so, you know, it's not a modern one. It's not a 90s. But you got 3, 4 D-28s over there, or D-18s, and they've all got slightly different things. This one's got Gotoh scallops, this one's got Gotoh ovals, and this one's got Grover 18-to-1s. Tricky things, you know. 2 1/4 versus 2 1/8, long saddle versus short saddle. Just stuff like that. It's hard to keep track of them. So I gotta have a list. You can see my list on the board back here, and man, and then I put a sticker on here as to whose guitar it is. Gotta do that. So I always check them. Okay. Grover 18-to-1, cracked headstock fix. Got my bone nut on it. Probably has my frets on it. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it's got my frets on it to the 15th because I can see that they're low up here, which is fine. Did a neck reset on this one. Did another neck reset on this one. Just like the first one, this had been cut. The fingerboard had been cut. It had actually been broken because it's not a clean cut. I thought, oh, it's fine, you know. And as I started taking it off, the fingerboard just wiggled and came off. I thought, what, you know? And I looked down there, and the fingerboard had been broken. Like this. I tried epoxying it. I tried gluing it. It immediately just came apart again. So I have to put it back on and then slide it in and glue it, which might complicate the fact that it took 2 neck resets because the neck shifts, you know, just a little, that kind of thing. Anyway, I did 2 neck resets on it. Got it where I wanted it. Got a 93 thousandths of an inch. Actually, 90 thousandths of an inch. The owner likes a little lower action, so 90 thousandths at the low E with enough saddle to adjust. And it's got a long vintage saddle, about that much on it. This one's got Stuart McDonald Galalith pins, which is the same material as Antique Acoustic. It's got an ivory grain to it, which pre-wars did not have. It used to be a really bold ivory grain, and I didn't like it. Now it's very subtle. I had to actually, you know, look at it pretty hard to see, you know, those Antique Acoustic. So those are good pins. Got one of my custom-made pickguards where I take a bold, bi-colored pickguard, and I stain the back of it red to give it this red 60s look. And depending on the degree of boldness, you can really get you can get pretty close to that 60s look. Never exact. Nobody makes an exact material, but this is pretty good, and I like it a lot. There's a close-up of it, and you can actually see in here. I spray the stain on. It's a shellac that I stain, and I spray it, and it'll make little pools, which is cool because then you get a darker red right there. There's a line. You get a darker red and a lighter red, so it's not a uniform red on there at all. So you get little reddish color streaks inside the other ones, which is pretty neat, I think. I think it looks really sharp. So, got that. 1983, it says it in the 150th year. Popsicle brace is gone. Scallop bracers, maple bridge plate. If I say anything wrong, Mr. Owner, don't panic because it's on the board. I got it right. Let's play this one. The neck, I keep saying that, don't I? I say let's play it and then I talk about the neck. The neck on this one is right in line with the 73. I don't feel, right offhand, I don't feel any difference between this and the 73, which is a good thing. You know, rounded V, definitely has a V to it. It's not a C shape. It does not have shoulders. I don't like shoulders. I like a V. I like this neck a lot. Very nice neck. Got my nut on it, so it's got a good spacing naturally. Non-adjustable truss rod, square tube. As far as I'm concerned, this is the 70s, and the bridge was out of location. The reason I put a new bridge on it was because it's been owned by some Nashville player, and he had this massive fat compensated thing that I swear was 1/4 of an inch wide with little teeny little compensations. The bridge had been shaved. It was a mess, you know. He had a strong Nashville tuning, so not as a standard, you know, D-28 sound. So we needed to fix all that. So I made a bridge, 2 1/4 spacing, long saddle. Everything's right. My hands are dry. Got to get a little moisture here. I got to think about something else. Yeah, this guitar, I think I'm going to drop the action on it a little bit more. Customer wanted low action, and when I'm first playing, I'm going, it's not quite as easy as it should be. Kind of wonder if the others have light strings on them. I can't remember. This one feels just a little bit stiffer than it should feel. I can play it okay, but I'm deliberately using a lighter touch on it because I know that he wants a lower action. So I'm deliberately using a little bit of a soft touch, and it's not quite reacting exactly the way I want it to react. But that's fine. I got lots of saddle over here. It's got a nice sharp angle, so I'll probably drop it about 5/1000ths of an inch before I get down there. Remember, this is scallop bracing, so it may have changed a little bit over the past week. When I do a scallop brace guitar, I keep it for 2 weeks to make sure that everything's popped into place. So, but this is a nice guitar too. It's got the snap of the first one. It's got the bass of the second one. It's clear. It's nice. God, I like them all. They all got their. They've all got their voices. They've all got their individual voice, and it's not that I have a preference. It's more like I listen to the guitar and play it and think, okay, this guitar is really good for this. And this is the voice of this guitar, and I need to play it like this. And I'm definitely very aware of what the voice of that guitar is. It's like your kids, If they're really good at something, then that's what they should do. There's no use trying to make them be doctors and lawyers and such when they, really need to be cowboys. In spite of the fact that cowboys are hard to love and all that kind of thing, A person needs to do their passion. A guitar needs to do its voice too. So that's why I didn't want to A-B these, and I didn't want to say this one's better, this one's, because they're all really good. They all have their own voice. And so it's what is this guitar good at? And what would this guitar be good for? That's nice. That's a snappy guitar. That's a snappy guitar. I'd play this guitar. I would say that middle one would probably be the best rhythm guitar. Not that you couldn't play anything on any one of them, but I like the rhythm sound of that middle of the second guitar, the 73. So in a band situation, that'd probably be my first choice. If I was playing solo guitar, this would be my first choice because of the snappy sound and the fact that it's got the 2 1/4 inch spacing, which I find a little bit nicer on my right hand. The first guitar, man, that's tough. I really like the clean sound of that one. That'd be a good band guitar in the right band. Like if you're playing if you're playing a good mix of lead and rhythm, a lot of lead. So I'd say a trio. If you had a trio, that'd be a good trio guitar where you're going to play a lot of lead. You're also going to play rhythm. And you're going to have a bass, and you're going to have one other high-pitched instrument. That first guitar, the 71, would fit that niche really, really good, I think. You got the bass for the low end, you'd have a mandolin or a fiddle or a banjo or whatever for the higher end, and that guitar would fill that niche right there. Whereas I think the 83 would be a little too close to the bass. Be a little bit over here, and I'd want a little bit more snap and punch. So that's just my gut feeling. You can make any one of them work anywhere, but I capoed up on this one just to see. And showing that cross picking is where I really like the 2 1/4. And it's only an 1/8 inch difference, but it's just a little bit. So it's a little bit more room for my fingers, a little bit more room for the pick. Yeah, I like that. It's got enough sustain that I felt comfortable leaving that note hanging when I did it. I didn't go and try to fill it all up. I left it hanging because it's got enough sustain to hold that note. there we go, an 83. Now, let's look at the wood on this 83. It's Indian rosewood again, but you do not see the pepper sprinkles on this one. See? It's got a really nice grain, but the pepper sprinkles are almost gone. It's got just a little here, you know. It's not like later 80s and into the 90s where it's really chocolatey looking. This has got a little bit of pepper, but not as much as the early 70s. I couldn't tell you where this wood came from. I couldn't tell you if this is plantation or wild growth or what it is. Don't know. It's good, you know. It seems, I'd have to get them back and compare them, but it seems like it's a little lower pitch than the 70s. The 73 I was beating on a minute ago. The 73 seemed a little higher pitch. That seems a little lower. A little deeper some. Just, I don't know. You can listen on the things here, you know. So, it's good stuff though. You know, it's a great guitar. This is another one. Oh, I already talked about that. Yeah, I did. This is my red stain pickguard. Fingerboard extension had been broken off. I had to reglue that. I did 2 neck resets on this one. But I'm going to drop the action just a hair. I'm going to check it again. And I'm probably going to drop it just a little bit. And then I'm going to call it good. I'm going to double check my nut height too, just to make sure that's right. You know, things shift a little bit. I bet you that could go down just a tiny, tiny bit right there. These are pretty good. So, drop it just a little bit. 83. That's 3 D-28s. Whew. Man, it took me forever to do these too. I've had these guitars for months. Of course, doesn't help your cause when you got to reset the neck a couple times. You know, and just little things like that. Kept coming up with them. This one, yeah, I do remember, because this one wouldn't set very good. You know, a lot of times you put the neck in there and it'll just click into position. And then other times it kind of wobbles and it just doesn't fit quite right. And I know on the first one it didn't fit quite right. The shibs pulled it in, it looked pretty good. But when I took it off again the second time, I also corrected a little bit of the thing here. When you've got a 2 1/4 inch spacing, the strings have got to run exactly. You've got no room. And I had a little bit too much on the bass, so the bass was kind of coming off a little bit, and it needed to be adjusted just a hair. And neck is like an airplane, you know. It's got, I don't know my airplane terms, it's got pitch, roll, and yaw. So on a neck, it can go this way, back and forth. It can go this way, like that, and then it can go back and forth like this, which is your typical neck reset. This way, or this way, and it can also go this way. And you got to get all that right. And the problem was with this one is it was a little bit too much of this way, the other way, this way, so that the bass string came off the neck. I just didn't like it. It just needed, God, I don't even know how much it was, 0.02 of an inch adjustment. And I got this, when I took it off the second time, I did a lot better. Now it starts down here and it goes very evenly down the neck on the low E string. And the high E is the one that comes in. And the reason I like to do that is because a lot of times people play with their thumbs. And if the low E is consistent right here, it makes for a very consistent thumb playing. The second reason is that most people don't push the low E off like that, but they will pull the high E. They tend to pull this way. Also, you tend to not do vibrato up here. You will do vibrato down here. So having a little bit of extra room, even if it's a subtle vibrato, you know, having that little extra room for the pull-off helps a lot. Okay, and then also when you're stringing, your high E is in just a little bit, it's a little less bend on your fingers. Just a tiny bit, you know, but it makes a difference in the comfort. It's more consistent with the rest of the strings. See, the rest of the strings you don't have bend, you know, unless you have really long fingers and you're going to come in like this. The rest of the strings you're kind of coming in like this at an angle. So when the high E comes in at a little bit more of an angle, instead of having to do this, it just has a little bit more comfortable, consistent feel. So that's why I run the high E in just a little bit, and I let the low E going more parallel down the fingerboard. But in the case of the first neck reset, it was too much. The low E was a little too close and it just looked funny. Now I'm happy with it. Nice. Yeah. Good set of D-28s.